Gophers with a 4th and inches situation. A big play for sub-quarterback and foggy lookalike Alan Holt. Entering the game with just 52 seconds left, Holt handed off to Valdez Baylor, who was stopped short, giving the Buckeyes a hard-fought victory. With Foggy's status questionable, Alan Holt will have his hands full trying to fill Foggy's shoes. At Michigan State, fans haven't seen the likes of Lorenzo White since the days of Eric the Flea Allen. But last week, the difference in MSU's offense clearly was the leadership of quarterback Dave Urema, back from a broken thumb. Urema rolls right, next to the end zone. Touchdown! Patrol, the tight end.
Woo! What a day by Urema!
It's the Spartans of Michigan State and the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Next.
Turner Network Television presents Super Football Saturday. Today, Minnesota at Michigan State. Brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealer. For comfort, innovation, and a real commitment to quality, it's today's Buicks. And by Republic, the only airline that gives you perks. You've earned them.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to East Lansing, Michigan, in this afternoon's game between the Spartans of Michigan State and the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Two teams very strong defensively, particularly against the run. And Ron Kramer, the Minnesota ball club anyway, a very bad injury right now for their ball club.
Certainly is. Without Ricky Foggy running that wishbone offense, it could be trouble for Minnesota. But defense is the game, and Minnesota can really play defense. They got some great defenders. Michigan State, on the other hand, they must continue what they did last week, ball control, and they can do it with Lorenzo White. I should say, in a mild upset, Michigan State the winner.
One thing which will be a factor today is the weather. It's been raining here all day long. The forecast is for more rain throughout the ball game, so things will be a little bit slick down on that field. Let's take a look now at some of the talent we'll be looking at this afternoon down on the field, beginning with Minnesota and their fine tailback Valdez Baylor, who's having his best year as senior.
He sure is, and he can really ramble down that sideline. He's a big boy with a lot of speed, picks those knees up and flies at the goal line.
The strength of this Minnesota ball club, though, is definitely their defense, and they have a lot of good defensive players, featuring Peter Najarian, a linebacker, one of the top tacklers in the country, Bruce Holmes, another linebacker, and Larry Joyner, a player who's listed as a defensive end, but he almost plays like an outside linebacker.
Well, he's sort of an outside linebacker and does a good job.
Lorenzo White last week, 244 yards on 53 carries, almost a one-man team for this Michigan State offense.
And look at his statistics for his career. Over 1,600 yards. He's a good one. You've got to keep an eye on him today.
And he's only a sophomore, third in the nation in rushing. Michigan State defensively also a very strong team, particularly defensively against the run. Here's their leader, Shane Bulla, the middle linebacker out of Cincinnati, third in the Big Ten in tackles this season. And I think we can look for a defensive struggle this afternoon, Ron.
Yeah, we sure can. And the team that holds the ball the longest, obviously, is the team that's going to be the winner. Ball control is going to be very important. It's going to be a rock'em sock'em football game. You can bet on that.
And one thing we know about these two ball clubs, they are able to control the ball for long periods of time. We've seen them do it before this year. We'll be back to meet the two teams right after this. Pete Van Wearen, Ron Kramer, back with you from Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. Our weather today is going to be a factor. It's only 56 degrees, but the forecast is for rain throughout the afternoon. It's been raining here all morning. We do understand, however, though, Ron, that this turf holds the rain quite well. Shouldn't be quite as slick as some more worn-out turfs might be.
Well, it's a brand-new turf last year, and when it's brand new, it sticks pretty strongly to those special cleats that they have for rainy days, and it should be a good, fast turf today for two great running teams. Michigan State with Lorenzo White, and he can fly. We saw him last week against Purdue, 244 yards, 53 carries. And, of course, Baylor, who's one of the fine halfbacks in the Big Ten for Minnesota.
And here come the Golden Gophers, coached by Lou Holtz. There's their overall record, 5-2 in the conference. They have 3 victories, 1 defeat. They're still very much alive in the battle for the Rose Bowl berth in the Big Ten. They have victories over Wichita State, Montana, Purdue, Northwestern, and Indiana. There are only 2 losses, a 6-point loss to Oklahoma, and last week's heartbreaker, a 4-point loss to Ohio State.
That's because they play great defense, and I think we're going to see a great defensive game today, especially by Minnesota. They got 2 great linebackers in Najarian and Bruce Holmes.
George Perles, Michigan State Ball Club, 3-4 overall for the year, 1-3 in the conference. They have victories over Arizona State, Western Michigan, and last week's 4-point victory over Purdue. Their losses have come at Notre Dame, at Iowa. They lost to Michigan, and they lost to Illinois. The schedule very much in Michigan State's favor the rest of the way. After Minnesota, Indiana, Northwestern, Wisconsin, Michigan State still thinking bowl game.
How would you like to start out your Big Ten season playing Iowa and losing a heartbreaker, then playing Michigan at home, thinking you got a chance, Michigan beating you, and then Iowa? But this Michigan State team really has come on, and their defense with Shane Bulla doing a fine job defensively and offensively, of course, with the addition of Dave Urema at quarterback last week, looked very promising.
Well, we'll see if this game lives up to its billing as a defensive struggle. The kickoff is just around the corner, and we'll be right back. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television.
We'll kick off for Michigan State.
Yesterday, we talked to Michigan State coach George Perles about how the Spartans have prepared for the possible absence of Ricky Foggy.
Also deep for Minnesota, number 12, Andy.
Whoever's at quarterback is going to run basically the same offense. Some people are a little faster than other people, but I'm not convinced that Foggy's not going to play. Neither is our team. We've worked all week assuming that he might play. We also know there's a possibility that Holt will be in there or Richardson. And no matter who's in there, they'll run the same type of offense. We have to stop the offense and not individual people.
And Ricky Foggy will not be starting today, but according to the Minnesota folks, he still may play. He did do a little bit of practicing this week, and it is a possibility that Foggy will see some action today, although Alan Holt, the fine freshman from Miami, gets the starting call at quarterback. Minnesota's won the toss. They've elected to receive. Mel Anderson, the deep man for the Golden Gophers.
Well, it's sort of interesting to look at Lou Holtz because when he practices somebody on Wednesday, they may start. If he practices them on Thursday, they may play. But if he doesn't practice them on Monday and Tuesday, they definitely will not start, and I don't think Foggy's going to start today.
So we're all set for the kickoff. Greg Montgomery will kick it off for Michigan State, and we are underway from Spartan Stadium. A good high kick carrying deep into the end zone, and Mel Anderson will down it there. And the Golden Gophers will put it in play, first down at their own 20-yard line. The starting quarterback, Alan Holt, number 17. He's a freshman from Miami, a redshirt freshman. There's the rest of the Minnesota backfield. Kevin Wilson getting the start at fullback ahead of David Puck today. And Andy Hare starting ahead of the injured Gary Couch at the flanker spot. A look at the offensive line for the Golden Gophers. They line up in an I formation. They normally run out of the wishbone, but they line up in an I on first down. The pitch is to the tailback, Valdez-Baylor. Baylor gets about a yard, 21-yard line. He's brought down after a 1-yard gain. It'll be second down and 9. Joe Curran, number 94, making the stop for Michigan State.
Joe Curran on the tackle. 94, Curran.
A look at Michigan State defensively. Not very big up front, but quite quick. Their linebackers are their strength. Anthony Bell and Shane Bulla, two of the leading tacklers on this club. And there's the defensive secondary led by free safety Phil Parker, an all Big Ten and All-American candidate. Followed a 2-yard gain on that last carry, second down 8. Now they line up on the wishbone. And not much running room there. Joe Curran plugging up the hole after very little gain by the fullback Kevin Wilson.
That's the kind of penetration that Michigan State defense has to make. Curran that time was across the line of scrimmage very quickly, stopping the fullback before he could get any maneuverability and down the field.
Ball just shy of the 24-yard line of Minnesota. It'll be third down and 6.
Each defender now is assigned to somebody. Somebody has to tackle the fullback, somebody the quarterback, and somebody the halfback.
Out of the wishbone again, Anderson wide right. after the play-action fake. The pass is intended for Mel Anderson. It's incomplete out at the 37-yard line. Ron Rowe, number 18, back on the coverage. So Minnesota goes nowhere with its first possession. They'll be forced to punt the ball to Michigan State.
Andy Holt just a little shaky on that little rollout. Fake to his fullback. Tried to throw it out here in the flat. And it was incomplete.
Deep for Michigan State.
You saw Bobby Morse, the deep man for Michigan State. Adam Kelly does the kicking for Minnesota. He's averaging just under 44 yards per kick this year. He was having some trouble in practice before the game. But he gets a good high kick away here, carrying all the way to the 31-yard line where Bobby Morse has it. Comes to the near sideline, and down he goes. Tripped up, loose ball, but I think they're going to blow it dead. I think they've blown it dead. They have at the 33-yard line. The tackle was made by Mark Dosbabic.
Michigan State. Ball at the
45-yard kick, 2-yard return. Michigan State now with fairly decent
tackle by
field position on the 33-yard line with the wind at their back.
There's a look at the Michigan State backfield. Lorenzo White, the man to watch there. 53 carries last week for Lorenzo White. He's the tailback behind Bobby Morse. Dave Urema, the junior from Warren, Michigan, the quarterback. That's Ingram in motion. Urema rolling out to throw on first down, and the pass is caught by Morris for a little gain, about a 4-yard pickup. They'll mark that ball at about the 36-yard line. David Williams making the stop for Minnesota.
A little rollout by Dave Urema. What they're trying to do is throw those ball control passes, and if they can get Bobby Morse open on the outside there, you know, he could pick up some big yardage.
The Minnesota defense, keep in mind Larry Joyner plays more like a linebacker along with Nigerian and Bruce Holmes.
Those little passes will keep them honest, though.
Second down, 6 at the 37-yard line. The pitch is to Lorenzo White. Looks for running room, finds a little bit, gets out to the 41-yard line. He'll be shy of the first down by a couple of yards. Mark Dosbabic, number 59, making the stop for the Gophers.
Good maneuverability by those two outside linebackers, Joyner and Dosbabic. Both of them do a great job in following the plays and have great quickness. Not big, though.
One interesting thing about this game, the strength offensively of both of these teams is running the ball. The strength defensively of both of these teams is stopping the run.
That's right. Look how deep Lorenzo White is. 9 yards back. That's so he can find the holes when they're opening.
That's Ingram in motion. Third down, 2. Urema rolls right, firing downfield. The pass is complete for the first down to Andre Rison, the freshman, at the 47-yard line of Minnesota. David Williams making the stop for Minnesota.
Andre Rison now on this rollout by Dave Urema down the field, about a 10-yard turn in, right in the middle of the zone. Look at that perfectly thrown ball by Dave Urema, and Rison catches it for a first down, and Michigan State moving the ball on the 47, 1st and 10.
Rison comes out wide left. The running backs are Bobby Morse and Lorenzo White behind Dave Urema. The pitch is to Lorenzo White. Off tackle right side across the 45 to about the 44-yard line. A gain of about 3. Steve Thompson making the stop for Minnesota.
And there's Lorenzo White. No hole whatsoever. Still picks up 2 or 3 yards.
We saw that a lot last week. When the holes were there, he'd pick up 7 or 8. When they weren't there, he'd pick up 3 or 4.
Like he just did on that last play.
Second down and 7. At the Minnesota 44. Just underway in the opening minutes of quarter number 1. Ingram in motion. Lorenzo White again. This time he didn't find any running room. Dropped for a loss back at the 47-yard line by Mark Dosbabic, number 59.
Well, that doesn't happen very often, but as we mentioned earlier in our program, those two defensive ends, the left end Larry Joyner and the right end Mark Dosbabic, have that great quickness. Dosbabic is displayed it on that play right there by forcing Lorenzo White to the outside, then making the tackle. Let's third down passing situation.
They mark the ball at the 46-yard line, so it's third down 9 after a 2-yard loss. Ingram is wide right, Rison wide left. Urema rolls right, firing to the fullback, Bobby Morse. He's got the first down inside the 35-yard line. Donovan Small, number 35, back in the coverage for Minnesota. First down, Michigan State.
That's that little rollout that we were talking about. Vino Belk clearing out that side of the zone, and Bobby Morse going to the outside. As we mentioned, he could pick up some good yards. Watch the rollout now by Dave Urema. Urema throwing the ball very well. Morse making a good catch. That's his third catch, and he's now got 28 yards.
First and 10, Michigan State at the 33-yard line of Minnesota. Lorenzo White behind his fullback, Bobby Morse, gets gets it inside the 30 to the 26-yard line. Bobby Morse, the fullback, a good block there.
Well,
Small made the tackle.
last week we talked about Lorenzo White beating into the line. All of a sudden, one of them's broken. And he's got such great quickness and such great speed and great power that all of a sudden he's liable to break one for 30 or 40 or 50, 60 yards.
He picked up 7 on that last carry, so it's 2nd down and 3 at the 26-yard line of Minnesota. Urema to Lorenzo White on the draw. He's inside the 20. He's inside the 15. He's inside the 10 before he was forced out of bounds. Andre Rison made a nice block that time to spring Lorenzo White free for a big gain.
Boy, that play was set up beautifully by the offensive play caller, because what was happening, Urema was going out, rolling out to the right. Watch him now. He's rolling out to the right. All the defense is looking for Urema to roll to the right. He hands it off to Lorenzo White, and with that great quickness, look at that great move and a good block out there by Andre Rison, gets him down to the 8-yard line.
3 tight ends in there now. Sargent in motion. First down and goal from the 8-yard line. Lorenzo White inside the 5, all the way down to the 3-yard line before Donovan Small forced him out of bounds. So it'll be 2nd down and goal. Michigan State trying to get on the scoreboard early here against that very highly touted Minnesota defense.
And that's some good blocking up front there, too. Tony Mandarich did a great job. And, you know, Lorenzo White, I talked to him yesterday in practice. He knows that his guys up front are doing the good job for him all the time, including Bobby Morse, the fullback.
It is 2nd down and goal from the 2-yard line. Lorenzo White tripped up back at the 5, falls ahead to about the 1-yard line. Matt Martinez, number 7, making the stop for Minnesota.
That was a good play by Martinez. He got in there and made some penetration, and that's what you have to do on the goal line. Tripped up Lorenzo White. You usually don't do that to Lorenzo White, though. You don't trip him up. He usually hops over the top of you or leaps over the top of you somehow, some way.
So it's a 3rd down and goal now. 9.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Michigan State trying to get on the board. 3rd and goal from the 1. Lorenzo White over the top, touchdown.
Like I said. A happy young man, Lorenzo White, over the top, in for 6. A very quick touchdown for Michigan State. And now watch it. Watch the great strength of these legs. I mean, he could probably high jump 6'5". Look at how high he is over the top of that line.
That's the 9th touchdown scored by Lorenzo White this season. Chris Caudell on now to attempt the extra point. And the boot is good. So the Spartans of Michigan State marching right down the field on their first possession. They've opened up a 7-0 lead. We'll be right back. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television.
Nearly 50 years ago, Research Federal Credit Union.
At the goal line for Minnesota, 89.
Lorenzo White tapping off this touchdown drive. 11 plays, 67 yards, 406 up and over. Great block by fullback Bobby Morse on Nigerian so that he couldn't come up and block him from making that touchdown. Here's the kickoff.
Montgomery's boot sailing high, long into the end zone. Anderson will down it there. Come back out to the 20-yard line. So Minnesota stopped on their first possession. Will now try it again against Michigan State, who leads at 7-0.
And that's a very surprising drive. We thought this was going to be one of those stalwart defensive games, especially by Minnesota. But if Michigan State continues to run the ball and pass the ball the way they have on that first drive, this could be a runaway.
Minnesota with Alan Holt in at quarterback, lining up in the I. The running backs are Kevin Wilson and Valdez Baylor. Loose ball. Who's got it? Michigan State has recovered. A mix-up in the Minnesota backfield.
We mentioned in our pregame that it's very difficult to run that quarterback position when you're handling the ball a lot, and timing is very important. On that play, Alan Holt, the timing was not very good. Fumbled the ball. Michigan State with absolutely great field position. Here's the fumble. He was going to throw it. Just a great play defensively by Michigan State.
And so now the Spartans have the ball back on the Minnesota 18-yard line.
Timmy Morris just made a great play. He was assigned to the quarterback.
Dave Urema with Morse and White behind him. This is Lorenzo White coming to the near sideline. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about all. Bruce Holmes and Mark Desbovic making the stop for Minnesota.
Well, they strung that one out. Bruce Holmes and Desbovic, those linebackers, strung it out for no gain, and that's what their job is, to get the ball and make sure that he doesn't get upfield. Make him being Lorenzo White. Nobody wants to let him get upfield.
The tight ends are bringing the plays in. Butch Roll comes out. Vino Belt comes in with the play for Dave Urema. Andre Rison goes wide right. Second down, 10 at the Minnesota 18. Michigan State with a 7-0 lead after the fumble recovery. They're in very good position again. That's Ingram in motion. Urema back to throw. Finds Ingram at the 15-yard line. Good move by Ingram. Gets him away from one man. He's still on his feet. Loose ball. Who picked up the fumble? A big pile-up. Minnesota indicating they have it. They do.
Another turnover. Great run by Mark Ingram. But unfortunately, on the 7-yard line, coughed it up. Minnesota
Anthony Burke recovered that fumble for Minnesota, so the turnover gives it right back to the Golden Gophers.
This is that great play again. A little rollout here by quarterback Dave Urema. Perfectly thrown. Great move right there by Mark Ingram. Gets up the field, but he forgets one thing, the ball. And the ball's on the ground, and unfortunately for Michigan State, Minnesota comes up with it, and Minnesota gets a break right back.
So the Golden Gophers have it now on their own 7-yard line. First down out of that wishbone. Alan Holt replacing the injured Ricky Foggy. Calling signals. The give is to Valdez Baylor. Baylor gets it out across the 10-yard line to about the 11. About a 4-yard gain. It'll be second down 6. Shane Bulla, number 41, making the stop for the Spartans.
Minnesota has to do what they do best, and that's run the ball with Valdez Baylor and just keep beating on you until sooner or later maybe come up with that long pass and the big play. That's what they've won with all year so far.
Their passing game has really averaged a lot of yards per reception because they don't throw that often. They kind of lull you to sleep with that run, then all of a sudden they pop one for about 30 or 40 yards. Out of the I formation on second down and 5. Holt giving to Baylor again. This time no running room at all. He was stopped by number 13, Dean Altobelli.
Baylor carried.
Shane Bulla also in on the stop for the Spartans.
Well, it's a big play for Minnesota. They certainly have to break the string. They have not got a first down yet here in the first period. They got to get the ball out a little bit so that they can get some field position. Otherwise, Michigan State, every time they get the ball, is going to have great field position.
And 4.
7 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Michigan State with a 7-0 lead. Third down, 4 at the Minnesota 13-yard line. Out of that wishbone again. Holt tries a little deception. Didn't fool the green-shirted Spartan defense, did it?
I don't think that was deception. I think that was a mistake by the quarterback, Alan Holt. Everybody was going to the left. He's got to go to the left, too, because with that wishbone, you have to fake the ball into the belly of the fullback, and he couldn't do that because he went to the right and everybody went to the left. Michigan State played it well. It's going to be 4th down, and then with this kick, they're going to get good field position again.
Adam Kelly on to do the kicking. Bobby Morse, the deep man for Michigan State.
It makes a difference with Alan Holt in and not Ricky Foggy.
Kick at all off the side of his foot. That was happening a lot to Adam Kelly prior to the game when he was practicing. I don't know if it's the wet football or what.
Well, what it is, he's kicking into a pretty good stiff breeze here. It's 15 to 20 miles an hour, and that's a very, very, very short punt of 24 yards.
So Michigan State has the ball back in excellent field position on the Minnesota 39. Pete Van Weer and Ron Kramer back with you from East Lansing, where the Spartans of Michigan State have dominated things so far in this first quarter. Total yardage, 78 yards for Michigan State. Only 12 yards gained thus far by Minnesota.
They're doing a tap dance on Minnesota at this point.
There's the give to Lorenzo White. Comes toward the near sideline, out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Mark Desbovic, who's having a pretty good game defensively, again making the stop for Minnesota.
Good block out front there, too, by John Lillibert. That's the same play they used before and got that nice gainer down into Minnesota territory with the rollout, and it's a good game plan because Dave Urima's rolling out, and then he's handing off to Lorenzo White on the play coming back, a counter to the left, and it's a draw play.
Second down and 6. At the 35-yard line of Minnesota, Lorenzo White again, near sideline, inside the 30-yard line, close to a first down. Bruce Holmes forced him out of bounds. They may have to measure this one.
It'll be close. It looks like it probably will be a first down, though. It is.
So another first down for Michigan State.
Well, I just marvel at Lorenzo White. He's just got those great little subtle moves. It looks like he's going to move into the line of scrimmage, and everybody starts moving with it. And he sets up all his blockers. There was some great blocking out front for Lorenzo White, and he sets all these things up, and that's what makes a great runner great.
Time has been called here. Donovan Small, the free safety, number 35 for Minnesota, got up slowly after that last play. He's walking off the field now.
Lorenzo White already carried the ball 11 times for 49 yards.
He's just getting started. He carried it 53 times last week.
I think something like 86 to 87% of the time he carries the ball.
It's a first down for Michigan State at the 28-yard line of Minnesota. Marcus McIntosh in to replace the injured Donovan Small in the free safety spot. The tight end Butch Roll in motion. Lorenzo White carrying for the 12th time today is inside the 20-yard line, out of bounds at the 18.
Boy, that's that same play again, that draw counter to the left with the rollout from Dave Urima.
And Martinez.
Watch Urima roll out to the right now. It looks like he's going to roll out, and he hands it back off to Lorenzo White. Lorenzo White with that great, look at him use his blockers right out in front. Isn't that fantastic? I love to see a great runner run.
Good block by great blocks were thrown by John Wojciechowski, number 73, and Steve Bogdanic, number 68. The right side of that offensive line for Michigan State. A 9-yard gain, second down 1. Butch Roll, the tight end in motion. Lorenzo White gets it again. He's got the first down. He's at the 15-yard line before he was brought down by David Williams, number 48. Another first down for the Spartans.
That was a good pop by David Williams. We said it was going to be rock'em sock'em. This is, even though Michigan State's running the ball, getting some good yardage against Minnesota, this is a good, tough football team, and there's a lot of good hitting going out there, and that's a first down.
So a first down now at the Minnesota 15. Michigan State with a 7-0 lead. 5 first downs in the game now for Michigan State. Minnesota has yet to get one. 5:46 to go in the first quarter. The give is to the fullback, Bobby Morse. He's up to the 10-yard line.
Wow, Bobby Morse got the ball. That's only about the third carry in about 2 games, but he picks up 5 or 6 yards. Watch Nigerian in here. That's Nigerian, number 32. Good tackle. Look, I see he plays off of his, and nobody could get to him. The blockers couldn't get to him. He was hiding behind those big guys. His nose tackle, Steve Rodas.
So that's a second down and 5 now at the 10-yard line. Urima gives to Lorenzo White. Here's that play again. White out of bounds at the 8-yard line. They have run that play very successfully with Lorenzo White all afternoon. Mark Desbobic forced him out of bounds.
Well, what happens on that is when Minnesota gets on this sideline, on the left sideline, they are slanting to the wide side of the field. So what Michigan State has done to counter that is they said, well, we're just going to give Lorenzo White, and whichever way they're going, we're not. We're going to go the opposite way.
It is third down, 3 yards to go for the first down, 8 yards to go for the touchdown. Andre Rison goes wide right. Butch Roll, the tight end in motion. The pitch is to Lorenzo White. White gets to the 5-yard line. Tripped up by Matt Martinez. It's going to be a first down, I think. Looks like he had enough for the first down. Going to be close.
It's going to be close. Depends on what the referee does. They're going to come in. They're going to measure it.
And Steve Thompson, number 96, getting up very slowly. In fact, he's not getting up. He's staying down.
Well, that'll be a hurt for Minnesota, too, because Doug Mueller, number 46, has had to be put in there at the middle guard because of an injury to Dennis Ryan.
Another first down for Michigan State. And they'll stop the clock here while they tend to the injured player, Steve Thompson, the junior tackle from Aurora, Illinois.
Boy,
So
there's a lot of things you can do when you get field position, and Michigan State's had it all day long so far here in their first period.
We'll be right back. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. First down and goal for Michigan State at the 5-yard line of Minnesota. The Spartans with a 7-0 lead, trying to add to it. Lorenzo White over the top, almost got all the way in. Boy, did he get some yardage through the air that time.
I couldn't believe it. I was looking at the statistics on Dave Urema. He's 4 for 4. If I give him 5 for 5 now, that was a passing play. Over the top. Watch him over the top.
Watch how high up in the air he gets here.
Boy, he just fights for every yard, doesn't he?
That's a 4-yard gain. It's 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line.
Now, what a nice young gentleman he is, too, besides a football player.
2 tight ends in there for Michigan State. Lorenzo White over the top. Touchdown.
Well, this Michigan State team coming on strong last week, getting a big win. And here he is again, Lorenzo White. He's our new Flyer. That's his 10th touchdown of the year. Well, I'll tell you something. And it was really a great one. That was 9 plays, 38 yards, 13-0 Michigan State.
Lorenzo White's 10th touchdown of the year, 2nd touchdown of the day. Chris Caudell to attempt the extra point. The kick is good. And the Spartans of Michigan State surprising everybody here. We still have 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and the Spartans already lead it 14-0.
Here's Lorenzo White in for the touchdown, his 10th of the year. The Flyer. That was a scoring drive of 2 minutes and 4 seconds, 9 plays, 38 yards, and that's a happy young man.
He's already gained 73 yards today on 17 carries. Here's the kickoff by Montgomery. Heading toward Melvin Anderson in the end zone, and this time Anderson will run it out. And he'll make it only the 10-yard line when he's forced out of bounds. Heath Fisher, number 43, preventing any kind of a run back by Melvin Anderson, was one of the best kick returners in the country.
Well, that kicking team did their job. It was a good high kick right down 1 yard on the goal line, and it was a good play by the kicking team, because anytime you tackle somebody inside the 20-yard line on the kickoff, you're doing your job.
They mark that ball at the 12-yard line, so once again the Golden Gophers have to start with their backs to the wall.
They don't have a first down yet.
They've been unable to do much of anything against Michigan State offensively or defensively so far. Out of that wishbone, Alan Holt in for the injured rookie Foggy. Back to throw, firing toward Anderson. He's got him at the 23-yard line. Todd Crum, number 35, bringing down Melvin Anderson, and the first down of the afternoon for Minnesota.
The hardest thing with the wishbone is to come back when you're behind, because the wishbone is a ball control type offense. So what's going to have to happen now is just what happened there. Alan Holt's going to have to come out of their game plan and get the ball up in the air a little bit to Mel Anderson and maybe to Andy Hare, so that they can get some big plays and get some points on the scoreboard.
First down at the Minnesota 24. The give. All the way out to the 36-yard line is Ed Penn, backup fullback, number 24. Phil Parker finally brought him down, but it's another first down for Minnesota.
Well, don't think that a Lou Holt team is going to give up. Don't for the life of you think that. These guys are out here, and they're well trained, and Lou Holt is one of those great stimulating coaches, and he'll get them back into this football game.
So Minnesota with their best field position really of the day. They're out to the 36-yard line now. Their second first down on this drive. Anderson comes wide right. The give again is to Ed Penn, the fullback. Penn gets across the 40 all the way to the 44-yard line. Another big gain before Todd Crum forced him out of bounds.
Little counter play.
Minnesota uses a lot of people in their backfield. Ed Penn,
yeah, that was Ed Penn that time from the right halfback. What was happening is everybody was moving to the right, and they handed it off to Penn. They're taking a book right out of Michigan State's plays, because they're faking to the right and moving it off to the left. Great run by Penn.
Second down and 2 at the 44-yard line.
Foggy the cheerleader.
This time it's Kevin Wilson, the ball carrier. We'll see where they mark his forward progress. He needed to get just across the 46-yard line for the first down, and we think he did. He did. First down. So the Gophers offensively starting to move the ball a little bit.
Watch Shane Bulla move into this hole and plug this hole and get away from these and make this great tackle right here. Good tackle by Shane Bulla. Got that head in there. Good solid base and drove his man back.
It's a first down at the Minnesota 47. Less than 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Minnesota trailing 14-0. Holt keeping. Holt trying to turn that corner. Down he goes. He lost a yard. Joe Curran, number 94, and John Jones, number 88, in there to prevent Alan Holt from turning that corner.
Good play by Mark Beaudoin. Watch number 27 Beaudoin come in here and get some good penetration. See right there, just almost made the tackle on Alan Holt and prevented him from making any kind of move whatsoever and a 1-yard loss.
So it's second down 11 now at the Minnesota 46. Eugene Gaylord in now at the wide receiver spot. Holt pitching to Ed Penn. Penn gets it out close to midfield, a gain of about 3 yards before Dean Altobelli, number 13, brought him down for the Spartans.
Everybody was assigned that time, and everybody did the job. When the ball was pitched out, somebody tackled the man. They tackled the fullback, they tackled the quarterback, then they tackled the halfback who had the ball on the option.
The ball just shy of midfield. It'll be third down, and let's call it 6 yards to go for the first down. Closer to 7. 3 carries now for 24 yards for Ed Penn. Anderson back in there. Comes out wide to the right. Holt rolling right. Looks for Anderson. Firing toward the sidelines, and he stay in bounds. He did not.
Minnesota has to give up the ball again. Not very well thrown by Alan Holt. Aiming for Mel Anderson. He just didn't get out of his rollout quick enough. You see, he waited too long, and here he's standing out here. Mel Anderson standing out on the sideline, well covered by the Michigan State defenders. Just no way that he could complete that pass. If he threw it a little too short, Michigan State definitely had an interception and down the field.
So Adam Kelly in to kick for the third time today. Bobby Morse, the deep man for the Spartans, who lead it 14-0. There's the boot by Kelly. Gets a good kick away this time. Bobby Morse at the 9-yard line. In some trouble back there, and down he goes inside the 5-yard line. Great coverage by Dennis Ryan, number 79. A 41-yard kick. And a 5-yard loss on the return.
That makes it a 46-yard kick. Every time we're getting the nets for these poor kickers. And here's Bobby Morse back. See, Bobby Morse is going to try to give some ground here. And he gives some ground, and unfortunately couldn't get out of the grasp of the defender. And Larson for Michigan State couldn't make the block on him. Otherwise, he would have clipped him.
It's a first down for Michigan State. They're on their own 4-yard line. A minute 19 to go in the first quarter. The Spartans with a 14-0 lead. Bobby Morse, the fullback, trying to punch it out across the 5-yard line. Gets to about the 7. Want to give him a little more operating room. It'll be second down, about 7. Lou Holtz on the Minnesota sideline.
He wants a big play down there out there
so far.
He'd like to see a fumble down here or an intercepted pass.
Second down and 7.
Second and 7.
2 tight ends in there now for the Spartans. Uriva gives to Lorenzo White. And White this time will be stopped at the 9-yard line. Penalty markers go down.
Right on the play.
After the tackle by Mark Desbovic.
I just wonder if it's going to be a face mask. Holding, Michigan State.
Michigan State.
That's interesting. I didn't see anybody out there blocking.
Kind of a late flag for a hold.
Yeah, I was sort of surprised because they threw it right down next to Lorenzo White after the tackle was made right there by Desbovic, and they called holding against Michigan State. And I didn't see anybody out there.
Jerry Hendrickson, the referee, talking this one over with Minnesota.
Holding, offense, decline, third down.
They'll take the down instead of the yardage. It'll be third down after no gain by White.
On the left side of the screen, I don't see any holding anywhere. Well, We can't even pick it up on the television set.
Third down and 5. Lorenzo White trying to find that first down yardage. He's got it. Out to the 15-yard line before Mark Desbovic forced him out of bounds.
Oh, that's just great effort by Lorenzo White around the left side here. Extra effort.
And the crowd loving it here at East Lansing.
And it's a very important play, too. Michigan State doing a great job on third down plays. This is 4 out of 4 for them. And, of course, most of the time it's been Lorenzo White. Look at him fight for that extra yard, and that extra yard got the first down for them.
19 carries, 80 yards for Lorenzo White. It's only the first quarter. First down to the 15-yard line. Here's his 20th carry of the afternoon. No yardage gain this time. He runs into a wall of Minnesota tacklers, led by Mark Desbovic, number 59.
Do you realize what would happen if he continued at this rate? He'd carry the ball 80 times.
He would also be a very tired young man.
You know something? The kind of young man he is, though, he'd gladly take it 80 times.
Time will expire here, I think, before the next play has gotten off in the first quarter. And so they'll walk it down to the other side of the field. It'll be a second down and 10 at the 15-yard line of Michigan State. After one quarter of play, the Spartans leading it 14-0. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. About to begin. Pete Van Weer and Ron Kramer with you from Spartan Stadium, East Lansing, Michigan. Michigan State 127 total yards in that first quarter to 50 for Minnesota.
This Minnesota team is a much different football team without Ricky Foggie. You can be assured of that.
Second down 10 as quarter number 2 begins. That's Ingram in motion. That's Lorenzo White, the ball carrier again. And he gets it out to about the 18-yard line, a gain of about 3. Matt Martinez, number 7, making the stop for the Gophers.
Again, that counter play, a counter draw to the left, with Dave Urema rolling out to his right, and they hand it back off to Lorenzo White. Picks up a few yards.
There's a look at the numbers for the first quarter. Very much in the Spartans' favor. That's why they lead it 14-0.
Oh, they've had some good field position, too, partner.
Third down and 7 here. Andre Rison comes out wide right. Mark Ingram in motion. Urema rolling right. Looks for Ingram, and the pass is caught by Ingram. Fine catch, but it's going to be shy of the first down.
Just a bit shy of the first down. Mark Ingram on the little turnout pattern out here in the flat. Urema hits him perfectly, but no room to maneuver. Good defensive play by Minnesota. And it will be fourth down. Matt Martinez, good tackle out there.
So on the first time today, Michigan State forced to punt the ball. Greg Montgomery in to do the kicking. Montgomery is averaging just under 44 yards per kick this year, and he gets away a good high kick. It's going to be fair caught, or is it? The ball is bobbled, and Michigan State has it. Minnesota called for the fair catch, couldn't come up with it, and Michigan State retains possession.
Andy Hare couldn't handle it back there. Michigan State, big break.
You know, back at the beginning of the year, George Purvis told us that his punter, Greg Montgomery, was a very difficult punter to catch, that the ball really has a curl to it when it gets up in the air, and you can see it that time.
And that was recovered by number 68, Steve Bugdelic. And it's a big break for Michigan State, and they're just playing one of those heads-up football games here against Minnesota. But as I said before, Minnesota ain't going to quit. And as I said before, you know, this Minnesota team is not the same without Ricky Foggie. And as Michigan State is now a different team with Dave Urema playing quarterback.
It's a first down at the Minnesota 38. In motion. Lorenzo White, the ball carrier. Right up the middle, inside the 35 to the 33-yard line, a 6-yard gain.
Look at the string of Minnesota players, and we know they're a good defensive player. A string of players laying on the ground. That means that Michigan State offensive team is doing a great job blocking up front. Mandarek and Strum and Shermer.
Second and 4 on the 33.
Anthony Burke made that last tackle after a 6-yard gain. It's second down 4.
And did you know every time the tailback carries the ball, the fullback's got a block?
And Bobby Morris has done a great job blocking for Lorenzo White all year. He'll try it again here. Look at the blocking through there. You see the
Boy, I love to see that. That's the kind of football
Martinez.
that Michigan State has played for the last 2 weeks. And that's one reason why Lorenzo White is one of the leading ground gainers. Watch the fullback, number 21 on the right of your screen. Watch this cut down right here. And you see who he's cutting down? That's Holmes, and he's a good linebacker. And that's why he picks up 8 or 9 yards.
It's another first down for Michigan State.
But Lorenzo White already has over 100 yards.
23 carries for 101 yards already for Lorenzo White. First down. The tight end Butch rolled in motion. The give is to the fullback Bobby Morris, and Morris gets inside the 15. He gained about 7 yards before Bruce Holmes made the stop for the Gophers. And Michigan State surprisingly able to run the ball against this Minnesota defense. Not surprisingly, they have a good offensive team and a good running attack offensively, but they've been able to run at will so far this afternoon.
They sure have. I was talking to Jimmy Morris, Bobby Morris's father, who played at Notre Dame with our Paul Hornung. I said, I hope your son remembers how to run the ball, and he certainly did. Right now, he's got 3 carries for 16 yards.
Second down and 3. Whoops. Tony Van Derek, number 79, jumped a little too soon for the Spartans.
Anxieties. He couldn't wait for the snap signal.
George Perlis really high on this young man, Tony Van Derek. He's 6'6", 269 pounds, a freshman from Oakville, Ontario.
Watch him come off the ball. He just forgot what the snap signal is. Got a little bit anxious. Got off the line of scrimmage.
Procedure, offense, second down.
And those can be very costly because Michigan State was second down and 3 yards to go. Now it's 2nd and 8.
At the 18-yard line of Minnesota, 14-0, Michigan State leading it with 12 minutes remaining in the first half. And the Spartans threatening to score some more here. Lorenzo White almost lost the handle on that one. And as he was juggling the ball, he's brought down back at the 20-yard line. Steve Thompson, who's back in there after being shaken up in the first quarter, making the stop for the Gophers.
Pitch is just a little bit low, a little bit high to Lorenzo White, and it got up into his face, but Lorenzo made a quick recovery, but there was no gain on the play. You know, those little penalties, little 5-yard penalties don't seem like much, but they can stop the momentum of a team.
It's now 3rd down and 10, the ball at the 20-yard line. Ingram comes wide right, Rison is wide left. Uribe giving to Lorenzo White. He'll be brought down to the 20-yard line. No gain. Steve Thompson making the tackle for Minnesota, and we'll see the field goal unit come on now for Michigan State.
Thompson on the stop.
If Minnesota now can hold Michigan State without any points, that could give them some great incentive to get some points on the scoreboard themselves.
This will be a 37-yard attempt by Chris Caudell. He has tried 11 field goals this year. He's been successful on 5 of them. There's the boot by Caudell. It's on the way. It's good. 3 more points for Michigan State after a 37-yard field goal by Chris Caudell. It is 17-0 Spartans. It is 17-0. Michigan State surprising Minnesota in this first half. And Ron Kramer, the Golden Gophers really need to get something going here.
They sure do.
Back in this game. They bounced this kick along the ground, picked up by Andy Hare at the 15-yard line. He'll get it out to about the 27.
But as I recall, it wasn't too long ago when Michigan State played Illinois right here. They were ahead of Illinois 17-7. And Illinois came back at them, so anything can happen. This is a good football team, this Minnesota. That last scoring drive, they had 6 plays, 18 yards, held the ball 2 minutes and 53 seconds. 3 points by Chris Caudell.
So a 17-0 Spartan lead. And Alan Holt in for the injured Ricky Foggy. Lines him up in the wishbone. Holt still has it. Across the 30 out to about the 33-yard line. Tripped up by Dean Altobelli, number 13.
Well, that's that quarterback option. And Ricky Foggy does so well. Alan Holt that time found a little hole, picked up 8 yards, and moved the ball. to the 34-yard line.
So it'll be second down. About 2.5 yards to go for the first down.
Sort of a nice day now. The rain has stopped.
Again, there appeared to be a little mix-up in that backfield. Minnesota still able to gain about a yard. They're going to be, well, they gained enough for the first down. They gained 2 yards.
Michigan State defender tackled both people who were carrying the ball, and I think it was Alan Holt and Kevin Wilson. And watch now when Andy Bell grabs a hold of him. He's trying to separate them. He couldn't separate them from each other or the ball. But he took them both down. But fortunately for Minnesota, they got the first down.
First down at their own 37. Holt back to throw on first down. Firing for Andy Hare. He's wide open inside the 40, inside the 30, out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Dean Altobelli.
Pass complete from Holt to Hare.
Knocked Andy Hare out of bounds after a long gain and a first down for Minnesota.
That's what we were talking about, this wishbone. He lulled everybody to sleep. Hare, watch Hare go through the line and up the sideline. Somebody missed him. It's all it is a misplay by Michigan State, and Hare is down the sideline, and he picks up a big one.
Andy Hare playing for the injured Gary Couch. A 38-yard play.
I think Ron Rowe was supposed to pick him up.
Alan Holt has some running room. Touchdown, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
From 25 yards out, Alan Holt gets the Golden Gophers on the board.
Alan Holt, 25 yards.
Michigan State could not hold Minnesota. As we said, Minnesota would not quit, and they haven't. They're on the scoreboard very quickly on that drive. Good play by Alan Holt. Found his hole and into the end zone. 6 points, 25 yards.
They moved the ball 73 yards on that drive. Took them only 4 plays, only 1 minute and 18 seconds. And now attempting the extra point, Chip Lohmiller. It is good. And Minnesota on the board now, trailing by 10 points with 9 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first half. We'll be right back. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. There you see, it did not take long for Minnesota to get on the scoreboard that time.
And just like that, Minnesota's back in this football game.
Chip Lohmiller set to kick it off. Bobby Morse and Mark Ingram are deep for Michigan State. The kick heading toward Ingram at the 2-yard line. Ingram has great speed, but down he goes at the 15-yard line. Good tackle there by number 43, Marcus McIntosh.
Alan Holt.
That's got to make him feel a lot more confident after all the problems Minnesota was having in the first quarter.
Well, you know, he made the big play. That big pass, you know, to Andy Hare down the sideline was perfectly thrown. And this could give him some good confidence. And, of course, it did on the kickoff team, too.
It's a first down for Michigan State at their own 16-yard line. 9 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the first half. 17-7 Spartans is your score. Bobby Morse, the fullback, gets it out to about the 19-yard line. A gain of 3 before Marcus Bobick and Steve Thompson brought him down.
Mueller on the tackle, 46.
Just a straight ahead play, picking up 3 or 4 yards. Bobby Morse.
One thing about this Michigan State offense, we saw this team last week against Purdue control the ball, one drive, almost 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 54 seconds, I believe it was. And on their final drive of the game, about 7 minutes.
Yeah, they can do it.
They are really able to use up clock. That's the tight end roll in motion. Lorenzo White, the ball carrier. No running room this time. He was sandwiched at the 20-yard line by Steve Thompson and Peter Najarian.
Well, Najarian played this one well. This is that counter play again. They're rolling out to the left, and here Najarian is right on his key. His key is Lorenzo White, and he said, there ain't no way Lorenzo White's going in place this time. Big third down play for Michigan State.
Third down, 5 yards to go. Michigan State's ball on their own 21-yard line. Rison is wide left. Ingram in motion. Yarima back to throw. Gets away from one man. Still looking downfield. Can't find a receiver. Now he does. Bobby Morse, first down at the 34-yard line.
Pass complete. Yarima to Morris. First down.
Marcus McIntosh and Joel Brown back in the coverage for Minnesota.
Marcus McIntosh.
Pretty good move there by Urema, getting away from Larry Joyner. Watch this.
Well, watch Bobby Morse. He throws a block out here. Then he gets out into the sidelines. And Dave Urema doesn't have great quickness, but he spotted Morse out on the sideline. First down, Michigan State, and a big first down.
Urema perfect on the day passing. He's completed all 6 of his attempts for 58 yards. First down at the 34. Lorenzo White picks up about 3 more yards. Out across the 35 to about the 37.
Gary Hatt made the tackle.
All he does, those little rollouts, Dave Urema, he's rolling out left, he rolls out right, he finds his fullback, he finds Mark Ingram, or he'll find Andy Rison.
Second down, 7 yards to go. The ball at the 38.
On the 38. Second and 7.
Urema back to throw. Firing for Mark Ingram. He's got it. Inside the 40, inside the 35-yard line. First down, Michigan State.
As I said, roll out right. He found Ingram down the sideline.
Dwayne Dutrell and Marcus McIntosh back in the coverage. McIntosh made the tackle.
Here's Dutrell trying to cover Ingram. Can't do it. Ingram's wide open down on the sideline.
So it's a first down now at the Minnesota 34-yard line.
Well thrown by Dave Urema.
17-7 Spartans. Lorenzo White toward that near sideline. Can't find a whole lot of room, but still picked up 3 yards. Marcus Popick making the tackle.
Did you see that great feint into the line and move to the outside again? And that's how he picks up those 3 or 4 yards every time. It's really tough on a defense because all the offensive line does come off, stick their head in their chest, and say, okay, my man's going to set you up, because he'll make a feint to the inside, go to the outside, make a feint to the outside, and go to the inside. And Lorenzo White does that well.
And as big a part of the offense as Lorenzo White is, he's certainly not a one-man show. Urema 7 out of 7 in the passing department now for 80 yards. White on the halfback option, firing toward Ingram. Incomplete.
White's pass.
Good play. Had nothing. Throw it away. Get rid of it.
So it'll now be 3rd down and 6.
Ingram didn't do a good enough fake job out here. What happened was they didn't think that Lorenzo White was going to run the ball. As you can see, there's 4 defenders surrounding Mark Ingram down in the end zone.
So now it's a 3rd down and 6 for Michigan State. The ball right on the 31-yard line of Minnesota. 17-7 Spartans your score. 6 minutes, 19 seconds remaining in the first half. Ingram in motion. Urema back to throw. Firing for Rison. Touchdown!
Dave Urema just riddling the Minnesota defense. Happy bunch of Spartans. 8 for 8, 111 yards, 1 TD. Andre Rison on a post pattern. Matt Martinez could not keep up with him. Thrown perfectly by Dave Urema. 7 points. Michigan State answered that touchdown Minnesota just made.
Chris Caudell to attempt the extra point, trying to get that 17-point lead back. It is good. 6 minutes, 14 seconds to go in the first half, and Michigan State once again with a 17-point lead. It is 24-7 Spartans.
Andre Rison, the great speed, roll out by Dave Urema, perfectly thrown, good blocking out front, beating Martinez. There's Martinez reaching for the ball. Rison's in for 6. 8 plays, 84 yards. That's a pretty good drive in 3 minutes and 6 seconds.
And I'll tell you something, Michigan State with 24 points on the board already have scored more points in this game than anybody has scored against Minnesota all year in a single game. The most points the Gophers have allowed in the game before today was 23 to Ohio State last week.
That's a good point, Pete. This is their first breakdown of the season at this point, but it's not over. There's plenty of time.
But free. Kicking it off into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. So the Golden Gophers of Minnesota finding out that indeed there are some teams that can move the ball against their vaunted defense.
You know something? I'm surprised. We thought this was going to be a bang-em-up defensive ball game, and Lou Holtz obviously is not happy about the outcome at this point. 24-7, Michigan State leading. But we thought these guys were going to hit on each other all day long and maybe scored maybe 10 points.
From that wishbone, first down at the 20. Alan Holt keeping it. He'll gain about 2 yards, and that's all. Tim Moore, number 42, and Phil Parker, number 32, making the tackle for Michigan State.
Good tackle by Timmy Moore, number 42, out there on the quarterback. They're just forcing everything now against Minnesota. They're getting great penetration into the line. And you know, as we mentioned before, Minnesota hasn't beaten Michigan State since what, 1976?
1976. 8 straight games have been played since then, and Michigan State's won every one of them. They're trying to make it 9 straight here today. Second down, 8. Holt. Pitching, fumble. Who's got it? Michigan State. Crum, number 35, came up with a loose ball.
Looks like there's a break in the dam. And a green wave is floating in.
So Michigan State gets the ball back on the 20-yard line.
I got a feeling, though, between you and I, if Ricky Foggie were playing that quarterback position, these things wouldn't be happening. We said at the beginning of the game, timing was important, and it's very difficult on Alan Holt.
Dave Urema gives to Lorenzo White. White gains about 4 before he's brought down at the 16 by Bruce Holmes. You saw on that play where the fumble happened that the pitch from Alan Holt to Ed Penn a little bit high, right up around head level.
It's very difficult for a young man like Alan Holt to come in and get this timing down with that type of offense. It is a tough offense to run, and the guy like Ricky Foggie really can do the job.
Lorenzo White, 28 carries, 111 yards. And we're still in the first half. Here's his 29th carry of the day. He's got some running room. Inside the 10, touchdown.
Let's give some credit to those guys up front. Mandarek, Strum, Shermer, Wojciechowski, and Bogdalik. Boy, I'll tell you what, they're doing a great job. Let's take a look also at Butch Roll. He just did a great job up front, too. And, of course, fullback Bobby Morse. He's got a block in it. Look at Morse right there. See that great block again? And there he is sailing into the end zone. And look at out on the outside. Even Mark Ingram, the flanker, is doing a great job.
Got a penalty marker down on the kick. So hold everything here. Chris Caudell's extra point attempt. The flag is going to be against Minnesota, however, so the kick is good.
Defense, offside. Minnesota on the kickoff. The point is good.
And this runaway continues from East Lansing, Michigan. It is 31-7 Michigan State. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television.
Check national.
There's Lorenzo White, a happy boy. He should be. 30 carries, 127 yards, 3 TDs. Here's the last one. 3 plays, 41 seconds. This is his 11th TD of the year. And look at that great burst of speed into the end zone. Lorenzo White.
There you see the surprising score here at Spartan Stadium. 31-7 with 4:47 to go in the first half. Montgomery.
Who'd have ever thought that?
Gets a good, strong kick deep into the end zone. Anderson's going to keep it right there. So it'll come out to the 20-yard line. This Minnesota defense allowed 14 points to Wichita State, 17 to Montana, only 13 to Oklahoma, 15 to Purdue, 10 points to Northwestern, 7 to Indiana, 23 last week to Ohio State,
And
31 in the first half to Michigan State.
And there's
today.
4:47 left to play. Michigan State taking advantage of every break. There's been a couple of fumbles, 2 or 3 fumbles, and Michigan State has put points on the scoreboard every time they've gotten a break.
So Minnesota trying to get something going here. Holt back to throw, firing to Baylor. Baylor gets it out across the 30-yard line. First down, Minnesota. Dean Altobelli made the stop for Michigan State.
Pass complete. Holt to Baylor. Altobelli.
Well, they're going to have to do it, as we mentioned before. Every team has a game plan, and Minnesota is going to have to come out of that game plan with the score 31-7 with 4:40 left here in the first half.
First down at the 34-yard line. Andy Hare comes out wide left. Alan Holt back to throw. And the pass is dropped. The intended receiver, the tight end, Kevin Starks.
Hit him in a bad spot, right in the hands. I'm sure Kevin Starks really doesn't like this one either.
Tim Moore
a little
back in the coverage.
pitter-patter of those little Spartan feet behind him. Perfectly thrown. There it is, right there. Kevin Starks, number 86. He's madder than we are. He's more disappointed than we are. I'm going to guarantee you.
Holt now 3 out of 6 in the passing department for 64 yards. He's back to throw again. This time it is caught. And out to the 46-yard line goes Craig Otto, number 84, tight end, a freshman from Elk River, Minnesota. Tim Moore and Shane Bulla making the stop. But it's another first down for Minnesota.
Craig Otto, the tight end, just swinging out of the backfield. In his quarterback, Alan Holt, hitting him for the first down, and the big guy just made a move for 5 yards, carrying a couple of Michigan State players.
First down at the Minnesota 46. 31-7. Michigan State leading this ball game. Holt has some running room. He got about 8 yards before he was brought down at the Michigan State 46-yard line by number 42, Tim Moore, sophomore from St. John's, Michigan.
Tried to pitch it back to Valdez Baylor, but he was down.
At halftime, we'll get a good look at the Michigan State marching band, show you some highlights of this first half. Big Ten Players of the Week from last week's action. We'll also take a look at a very interesting conference race this year.
Talking about the band is about 117 years old. That's longer than football's been here.
Second down, 1 yard to go. A little movement along the line. Penalty marker is down. And tempers, understandably, on the Minnesota side, a little bit short right now.
I should think so. But the score 31-7. You just get frustrated after playing such good football up to this point, and all of a sudden you can't get any points on the scoreboard, and your defense can't hold anything.
There's the injured quarterback, Ricky Foggy, whose absence today may or may not be the determining factor.
I'll guarantee you one thing. We've seen him play 2 or 3 times this year already. He would make a bit of difference. I think you could agree with me on that, Peter.
Second down 6 after they walked off 5 yards. The ball right at midfield. Alan Holt back to throw. He's got plenty of protection. Now he can't find a receiver, so he'll run the ball, and he's got the first down at the 42-yard line. Tim Moore made the stop for Michigan State.
Good coverage by that Michigan State defensive backs.
First down.
Crum and Altobelli, Parker, and Rowe. Can't find anybody. He's looking. Alan Holt finds a little hole, gets upfield to the 42-yard, 42.5-yard line. First down, Minnesota. This ain't over yet, though. You know, if they can get in for a score here, they'd be back in this football game.
3 minutes, 52 seconds remaining in the first half. Holt running away from some pressure. Firing long downfield, incomplete. The intended receiver, the tight end, Craig Otto.
For Otto, incomplete.
Alan Holt had to get away with it, get the ball off, just throwing it away.
Ron Rowe back on the coverage. So the incompletion stops the clock with 3:42 remaining. Second down 10. Holt is now 4 out of 8 for 77 yards in the passing category.
He's run the ball 9 times for 52 yards and has a touchdown.
Second down 10. Again, movement along the line. Dan Recton got started a little too soon.
Regroup, boys, regroup. That's what Coach Lou Holt's saying on the sidelines. We got to regroup. Maybe he ain't saying that.
Mark off
I think
5
he's
more
saying
yards.
more than that.
CJ, offense. Second down.
Second down, 15 now. The ball back at the 47-yard line of Michigan State. In a frustrating afternoon for Lou Holtz and the Golden Gophers. 31-7, Michigan State leads it. And we're still in the first half. There's your time remaining. Alan Holt back to throw. The pass is caught by Melvin Anderson at the 29-yard line. He had to come back a little bit to get that ball, but he did. And it's a first down for Minnesota.
On the play, Minnesota.
Well, Alan Holt now has to come back with the passes. This isn't their type of football, but they're going to have to learn to play it if they're going to play with the big boys. And today is a real test for this Minnesota Gopher team and Alan Holt.
It's a first down at the Michigan State 29. Alan Holt keeping. And he'll be tripped up. A good tackle made by Joe Curran, number 94, is the strongest man on this Michigan State team. He's not real big at 5'11", but he weighs 261 pounds.
And he had good quickness because he caught Alan Holt from behind that time. Alan had our little hole out there on the right, and it looked like he was going to make some yards. But unfortunately, he was caught by Curran.
A timeout will be taken here by Minnesota, stopping the clock with 3 minutes, 1 second remaining in the first half. And Michigan State with a 31-7 lead. Michigan State with a very deceiving record, as we mentioned at the outset. Their record of 3-4, but their losses came early in the year to some of the top-ranked teams in the country. And they still very much feel like a bowl game trip is a real possibility.
Oh, there certainly is, with the schedule that they have. You know, like we mentioned earlier, they had to play Illinois, Michigan, and Iowa in succession. Then, of course, they went to Purdue. Now they have Minnesota, but they have Indiana, Northwestern, and Wisconsin for their last 3 games. They played the tough part of their schedule early. And the easier, I don't know if anything's easy. I mean, a coach would probably tell me, Kramer, you're a little bit crazy if you think that anybody's easy to play on Saturday. But it seems to be a lot easier. And, of course, Michigan State now, right at this point, is really coming on strong. They have a great game plan today against Minnesota. They've had a super game plan. Now, of course, anytime you put a guy like Lorenzo White in a football game, you got a great game plan. He's carried the ball 30 times or anything.
On the other side, Minnesota gets part of the schedule that's a little bit tougher coming up for them as they close out their last 2 games against Michigan and Iowa. So the schedule toughens up for Minnesota while it eases up a little for Michigan State.
Well, and that Michigan-Minnesota game up in Minnesota will be on Turner Network.
3 minutes, 1 second remaining in the first half. Second down, 6 at the 25-yard line. Holt giving to his fullback, David Puck. Puck got about 2 yards and is driven back by a wall of green.
Headed
Led by number
Timmy
42,
Moore.
Tim Moore. He's having a good game defensively.
Oh, he sure is.
Sophomore from St. John's, Michigan.
I think he's assigned to the fullback. That's his play all day long. You got to tackle. You got to tackle the fullback, even if he doesn't have the ball. When you're looking at a wishbone.
Third down and 3 at the 22-yard line. A big down here for Minnesota. They'd love to get one more touchdown. Trying to get back in this ball game.
They're 0 for 3 on third downs.
Alan Holt giving to Andy Hare, and he's got the first down. Inside the 20-yard line, Tim Moore again making the stop for the Spartans.
Ball carrier, number 12.
But it will be a first down for Minnesota.
Minnesota must get some points on the scoreboard here in the first half. Michigan State with 31 points up there, and they only have 7. They're going to have to get some on the scoreboard if they're going to get back into this football game.
They line up in the I formation with Puck and Baylor, the running backs, behind Holt. Hare is wide left, Anderson wide right, and down goes Holt. Tim Moore, number 42, got through again.
What a day he's having. A blitz by Timmy Moore from that left corner. In there. tackling Alan Holt before he can get the ball off. Watch Alan Holt go back now. He don't see number 42 coming on the outside. Timmy Moore. He's gone. Blindside. Done. Down.
Back to throw again. The pass is caught by Craig Otto inside the 15-yard line down to about the 13. Ron Rowe back in the coverage for Michigan State.
Made the tackle.
Good tackle by Ron Rowe down there. Getting that big guy. Sometimes those big guys, those tight ends like number 84, he's about 6'4", 235 pounds. And we got a timeout.
So Minnesota stopping the clock again with 1:23 remaining. They'll have a 3rd down 6 facing them when play resumes. In what has been a very surprising performance by the Michigan State Spartans. They have played by far their best game.
I really don't know if it's surprising after we saw them play against Purdue last week. They really have been playing good football. And I think we should give some credit where credit is due. And when Dave Urema came back in as quarterback, this team seemed to change around drastically offensively because, as George Perles said, his experience and in the way he handles this football team, it really gave him some real solid offensive kind of play that they need in order to put points on the scoreboard.
It was a very big victory for them last week. They had to come from way behind to beat that Purdue ball club, and they did it with 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. And that confidence is really carried over this week. You can see it.
And the last play of the game for a 7-pointer and a 4-point win over Purdue at Purdue.
Now let's see if the Golden Gophers can pick up the first down here. The ball is at the Michigan State 13. They need to get just inside the 8-yard line for the first down. Holt is back to throw. His receivers are covered, so he dumps it off to Andy Hare. And Andy Hare will not get the first down. He'll gain only about a yard before the tackle is made by Ron Rowe and Tim Moore.
Well, good penetration by that Michigan State defense coming in there on Alan Holt. Watch the defense, the penetration out there. And, of course, good coverage downfield by the defensive backs. Couldn't find anybody, threw it out to Hare, and they're going to try for a 3-pointer.
Chip Lohmiller will attempt this one from 30 yards out, as the Gophers will settle for 3 here if they can get it. There's the boot by Lohmiller, and the 30-yard field goal attempt is good. So the Golden Gophers got 3 points out of that, but they still trail by 21 points. It is 31-10 Michigan State.
You got to take those points when you can get them. And of course, Lou Holtz knows that. It's better going in with a positive rather than a negative. If Lou Holtz didn't make that first down and get in for 7 points, he says, well, I'll settle for 3. And we'll go in with 31-10. Maybe we can pick up 3 touchdowns in the second half.
Every coach knows you can't get back 24 points all at once.
14 plays, 67 yards, 4:07 time of possession. And Chip Lohmiller, 3-pointer for Minnesota.
Only 40 seconds remaining in the first half. Michigan State will get the ball back here.
I love to see Lou Holtz walking up and down the sideline. You know, such a tiny little guy, and when you watch him coach, he comes up against these 6'8" guys, 285. Look at this.
And I think in the course of an afternoon's football game, Lou Holtz must cover about 9 miles walking up and down that sideline.
That's why he's so small.
So here comes the Minnesota kickoff.
He had a jacket on at one time, you know. You think he ain't hot?
I think this first half has warmed him up a little bit. Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall in the Minnesota locker room at halftime? Hear what Lou Holtz has to say to his team?
I wouldn't want to be one of his players. I'd rather be the fly.
Ball will come out to the 20-yard line after the kickoff.
But I've been with Lou many times, and I've heard him many times. He's a great stimulator. He doesn't always get hot, boy. He's just got great command of the language and great command of people and great respect from his players.
First down, Michigan State. Only 40 seconds remaining in the first half. It's 31-10. The Spartans leading it by 21 points. The fullback, Bobby Morse, punches it out to about the 24-yard line.
Well, they didn't give the ball to Lorenzo White. He's got 30 carries already here in the first half. And the NCAA record for carries in a half is 32.
So 2 more carries by Lorenzo White. And he would have set an NCAA record, or at least tied one. There won't be enough time for him to do that now. Only 14 seconds remaining. But what a first half Lorenzo White, Dave Urema, and this entire Michigan State team has turned in. They'll let the time expire. And the fans at Spartan Stadium are on their feet as Michigan State has completely dominated things in the first half. 31 points for Michigan State, 10 points for Minnesota. This year that once again 6 teams from the Big Ten will be taking postseason bowl trips.
And as we mentioned, Michigan State has a favorable schedule for the second half.
There's a look at the numbers in the first half. Look at the yardage rolled up by Michigan State in a 31-10 halftime lead, and the Spartans will have the ball to begin the second half. Lohmiller set to kick it off for Minnesota. And it's fielded on one hop by Mark Ingram. Ingram straight up the middle, gets it out across the 20, and Mark Dosbabic drives him back, but his forward progress will be marked almost out of the 25-yard line. Now the running backs are Bobby Morse and Lorenzo White. And this is Lorenzo carrying for the 31st time this afternoon. Gets out to the 20. Second down 8. Urema back to throw. He's been perfect this afternoon. 8 for 8. This one for Mark Ingram, though, is overthrown out of bounds. And that's the first incompletion of the day for Urema, although Lorenzo White. Ingram wide left, Rison wide right. Urema back to throw again. His receivers are covered. He's going to try to run for that first down yardage, and he may have gotten it. He's out of bounds just across the 35-yard line. That should be enough for the first down.
Headsy play by Dave Urema. He moves out of the pocket right here, and he gets away from these big guys up. Anthony Burke almost hammers him, but Dave Urema, who's not known to have any too much quickness, gets outside. Watch him put the ball out front over the 30-yard line or 35-yard line for the first down.
First down at the Michigan State 36 in the opening minute of quarter number 3. Urema to Lorenzo White. And Lorenzo White bowls his way out about 2 more yards. It'll be second down 8.
I would like to play against this kid for the next 2 years.
Second down 8. At the 38-yard line. Lorenzo White again to about the 40. That's what we were talking about in the first half. Anderson, White, the running backs behind Urema.
Watch for a rollout left.
Urema looks downfield and fires to Andre Rison for the first down at the 42-yard line of Minnesota. Dwayne Dutrell back in the coverage for the Gophers, but Urema found his man again.
Dave Urema rolling out, not to the left this time, but to the right this time, into the short side of the field, and finds number 1, Andre Rison, wide open on the sideline, perfectly thrown. And what a game Dave Urema's having again.
And Andre Rison's going to be around for a while, too. He's only a freshman from Flint, Michigan. He was a quarterback in high school, but he's a wide receiver and a good one here at Michigan State. The tight end blitz roll in motion. The pitch is to Lorenzo White. White trying to turn the corner. Blocked for a loss of 2 yards by number 59, Mark Dosbabic. Second down 12 at the Minnesota 45. Ingram in motion. Urema rolling right. Firing long downfield for Mark Ingram, and it is incomplete. Inside the 5-yard line. It's 1 touchdown. Just under 12 minutes to go in the third quarter. Third and long. Urema back to throw. Fires for Bobby Morse. Incomplete at the 40-yard line. There's the boot by Montgomery. Hare at the 11-yard line. Gets it out to the 28-yard line. Not a bad return at all. He lines them up in an I formation. The fullback is David Puck. The tailback is Valdez Baylor. And Holt to throw. Completes it to Kevin Starks, his tight end. Close to a first down out near the 38-yard line. Eugene Gaylord in there now at the wide receiver spot. He's out wide left. Again out of the I formation. Holt keeping. Holt looks for running room. Gets out across the 45 to the 46-yard line before Shane Bulla made the stop for Michigan State. Anderson wide right. Second down and 4. Holt giving to his fullback, David Puck, who gets it out close to first down territory. We'll see where they mark it. Score we just saw there at Penn State. Louisiana State winning. Georgia leading Tulane early. Homecoming at Georgia this weekend. Holt gained about 3. Getting into the 47-yard line at the 46-yard line of Michigan State. A little under 10 minutes to go, third quarter. Holt, the throw. It is caught by Hare inside the 30, inside the 25-yard line before Phil Parker. Line of Michigan State. First down for the Gophers. Holt giving to the fullback, Puck. Puck gained about 3 yards down to the 20. Tim Moore, number 42. Game plan. Looking to throw. He's got Starks. Touchdown, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
So the Golden Gophers strike first in the second half.
To Kevin Starks.
Kevin
Playing
Starks.
for 20 yards.
Kevin Starks right in the seam of the zone. He fakes that play into the middle to the fullback, Puck. Comes up with the ball. Alan Holt does. Throws it to Kevin Starks. Watch Kevin Starks run with this ball after he catches it. He just needs it. That's what that big tight end does. Nobody can bring him down. There he is into the end zone after the tackle was missed by Phil Parker.
So now the point after attempt by Chip Lohmiller. It is good, and the Golden Gophers have pulled back to within 14 points with Morris and White, the running backs behind him. This is Lorenzo White. Behind that block thrown by Bobby Morris, gets it out to the 27-yard line. Fumble, and who's got it? Minnesota indicating they have the football. We'll wait for the referee's signal, though. No call yet from the referee. It is Minnesota's ball. Mark Gosbavik, number 59, came up with that loose ball, and Minnesota getting right back in this one.
Boy, the mighty momentum is on the side of Minnesota. Here's the play by Lorenzo White. He stripped from the ball. There it is, stripped from the ball.
Joiner on the play. First down, Minnesota.
And Minnesota picked up the ball, number 59, Gosbavik. And the young man that did the job, though, was Larry Joyner. Number 20, stripped the ball.
First down. Out of the wishbone. Holt pitching to Valdez Baylor. All the way down to the 21-yard line before Mark for Minnesota. Both Starks and Otto into the game. Holt still has it. He'll be shy of the first down by about a yard, but he picked up. The give is to Baylor, and he's got the first down. Anthony Bell making the stop for Michigan State. So it's a first down at the 17-yard line. Minnesota down by 14. Holt pitching to Cummings, and Cummings got about 2 yards, and you could hear the hit there at quarter while giving up only 7. They're trying to get some more points on the board right here. Holt rolling left. He's got some protection, but the pass is incomplete for the Gophers. Third down 8. 5:57 to go in the third quarter. 31-17 Michigan State. That pass incomplete. The 32-yard field goal. Here's the boot by Lohmiller. It's good. So 3 more points on the board for the Golden Gophers. And Michigan State's lead now down to 11 points with 5 minutes 50 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Michigan State, 7 plays, 12 yards, 243, 3 points for Minnesota. Here's the kickoff.
Lohmiller's kick bouncing over the head of Mark Ingram and through the end zone, so it'll come out to the 20-yard line where the Spartans will put it in play. Backs are Lorenzo White and Bobby Morris. Andre Rison is wide left. Mark Ingram is wide right. Urema back to throw on first down. Firing long downfield for Mark Ingram. Incomplete. In last year's game between Michigan State and 10. Lorenzo White's got some running room outside, trying to turn the corner. Can't get away from Gosbavik. Gosbavik. Urema back to throw. The pass is complete to Bobby Morris. First down at the 36-yard line. 2 tight ends in there for Michigan State. Urema pitching to Lorenzo White. Lorenzo White out across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. Lorenzo White.
3 TDs.
This is the the fullback, Bobby Morse, punching it out to about the 46-yard line. Shy of the first down by a little more than a yard. Butch Roll, Vino Belk, and Mike Sargent all in there. On third and short yardage, Lorenzo White did not get the first down. Minnesota stopping him about a yard shy of the first down, and the Gophers will get the ball back. Anthony Burke and Matt Martinez making the stop. 1:20, Michigan State leading. Still a lot of time to go, though. 2 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the third quarter. There's the boot by Montgomery. A good kick. Carries to the 11-yard line. Hare starts up the middle, gets it across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. That's where the Gophers will put it in play. Trailing by 11 points, has just gotten the ball back with 2:27 to go in the third quarter. Alan Holt has gone all the way for the injured Ricky Foggy at quarterback. Gives to his fullback, David Puck. He gets out across the 25 to about... It is second down 7 at the 26-yard line. Holt keeping, pitching to Valdez Baylor. Baylor out across the 30 to about the 31 before Dean Altobelli and Shane Bullock on the right side. Craig Otto on the near side. Out of that wishbone, 3rd and 1. They gave us the Cummings, and I don't think he got it. All those green shirts prevented him from getting the first down. So the Michigan State defense comes to the forefront.
Boy, that was
time about to run out here in the third quarter. There's the boot by Kelly going end over end to the 28-yard line. Bobby Morse is going to be brought down right there. Steve Franklin, number 40, made the stop for Minnesota.
40 will be 1st and 10, Michigan State.
Yarema back to throw on first down. In some trouble, got rid of it just in time. Right left. The pitch is to Lorenzo White on second down. Trying to turn that corner. Can't do it. Boy, did he get hit, too. Matt Martin.
With great predictors.
3rd down and 9. Ingram in motion. Yarema back to throw. For Ingram, incomplete. At the 32-yard line. So Michigan
did their job. They held them off the scoreboard here in the third period.
There's the boot by Montgomery. Oh, good kick. It'll be inside the 25-yard line. It'll be down to the 22-yard line. Anthony, he's been in my pockets, too. Oh, back to throw. Complete. Melvin Anderson all the way out to the 49-yard line. Todd Crum makes Minnesota 49. After the fake handoff to Wilson, Holt keeps the ball, gets it across midfield to the 49-yard line of Michigan State. Jim Ranella making the stop for the Spartans. Second down 8 at the 49-yard line of Michigan State. Holt back to throw on second down. He's got plenty of protection, firing long downfield, incomplete off the fingertips of Andy Hare. Gary Couch has checked into the game for the first time today. And down goes Holt. Back at the 45-yard line. Kelly in to do the kicking for Minnesota. That one was almost blocked. And down at the 25-yard line goes Todd Crum.
That Georgia team, don't you?
Out to the 30-yard line, Lorenzo White, a gain of about 4. 4 shy of the NCAA record. Second down and 5. Here's Lorenzo again. Out to the 34-yard line. Lorenzo White trying for the first down. Looked like he got it. He needed to get to the 36-yard line. He made it to about the 37 before Matt Martinez made the... Lorenzo White, the ball carrier again. Gets it out to the 40-yard line. Anthony Burke making the stop. What a talented ball player he is. And he's got it again. Lorenzo White to the near sideline. Picked up about 3 more. Out to about the 43 before Bruce Holmes for Michigan State still leads by 11. 3rd down 4. Back to throw Yarema. The pass is caught by Andre Rison inside the 45-yard line of Minnesota. It's a first down, Michigan State. Lungin Howard back in the coverage for Minnesota.
Big play by Urema. Here's a third down play again. He goes on that little rollout, fakes to Lorenzo White, and there he is, Andre Rison. Little turnout on the sideline. First down, Michigan State, and it keeps the clock running.
Urema now 11 of 17 on the afternoon.
That's not a bad day either.
And Rison has caught 4 of them for 73 yards. Here's Lorenzo White again. He's got some room inside the 40-yard line, all the way down to the 38-yard line before Rich Reed makes down. 3 yards to go for the first down. 2 tight ends in there. Lorenzo White again lost his footing this time, and down he goes. He's up Minnesota 40. He's rolling out again. He loses the football. Michigan State got the ball back, but all the way back at the 48-yard line of the Spartans.
You know who was there again? Big Mark Desbovic. He's the one who caused the fumble.
Even though they've got to punt it away here, it'll mean a big difference in field position for Minnesota. Andy Hare awaits the kick from Greg Montgomery. Oh, he gets a beautiful kick away. Fair catch being called for, but this one will sail into the end zone. That is a 52-yard punt.
He's been averaging
20 seconds. 31-20, Michigan State leads it. Alan Holt has had a good game, filling in for the injured Ricky Foggy. Throwing for Melvin Anderson downfield, incomplete. He had it and dropped. Holt dumps it off to Valdez Baylor. Baylor spins away from one man, but down he goes for no gain. The tackle made by Dave.
Big third down play.
Third down and 10. Holt lost his footing as he came back to throw the ball, and down he goes at the 15-yard line.
It's up to the people on the field. Kicking into the wind, Michigan State should have good field position.
There's the boot by Kelly. Not a bad kick into the wind. Fair catch called for by Bob.
Minnesota must get the ball back in order to score. Michigan State wants to keep this drive going.
They give to the fullback, Bobby Morris. He'll get a couple of yards before Anthony Burke brings him down. 6 minutes, 30. Just a little over 6 minutes remaining. Urema back to throw on 2nd and long. Ingram, the intended receiver, the down and 8. Urema back to throw on 3rd down, firing toward Mark Ingram, incomplete. And Minnesota.
Urema's 3 out of 10 in the second half only.
He was 8 for 8 in the first half throwing.
That ain't bad, is it?
Get it, Joe, get it!
There's the boot by Montgomery, and that thing's going to carry all the way into the end zone with that wind behind it.
All the way into the stands.
It's down for Minnesota with 5:50 remaining in the game. The Gophers down by 11 points. Holt back to throw on 1st down. Gets it to his tight end, Kevin Starks. Good for about a 5-yard gain before Anthony Bell made the stop for the Spartans. Keeping it is Holt. He got maybe 2 yards before Mark Nichols, number 83, made the tackle for Michigan State.
Mark Nichols.
So now it'll be a 3rd down situation for Minnesota. 3rd down and 2, 4 minutes, 39 seconds remaining. Alan Holt gives to his fullback, and Courtney Holmes gets it out for the 1st down at the 31-yard line.
One advantage in.
Operating from the wishbone, Alan Holt, who has filled in admirably for Ricky Foggy. Throwing for Gaylord. He's got him. And Gaylord on the Michigan State sideline goes out of bounds. Another 1st down near midfield. It's a 1st down at the 47-yard line. Holt back to throw. Has plenty of protection. His pass is caught by Mel Anderson at the 35-yard line. He's forced out of bounds. Back at the 36-yard line. That's where they'll put it in play. Phil Parker made the tackle for Michigan State.
Wow, how did that happen? Mel Anderson was out there, caught the ball, but Valdez Baylor, I thought, was covering because he was right next to him. Watch down here on the bottom of your screen. Here he comes out to the outside, and the outside man's there too. Too many people close, but it was a great catch. And
fullback David Pumpkin, he's got some big yardage inside the 25-yard line. Another 1st down for Minnesota. Tim Moore finally brought him down after about a 12-yard gain.
1st down, Minnesota.
That's what Minnesota has to do.
Some other here it is 31-20 Michigan State. breathing room that time as John Jones, number 80. Second and 13 at the Michigan State 27. They line up in the I formation. After the fake to Baylor, penalty markers are down, incomplete. Valdez Baylor, the intended receiver.
That's probably a holding penalty, and it could be a big one against Minnesota. That's where the penalty usually comes from, that line, Judge.
Holt now 15 out of 24 in the afternoon for over 220 yards.
Wow, he picked it up. He didn't call anything.
And 12.
I guess it just fell out of his pocket. It'll be third down. 12 yards to go for the first down. 2:48 the time remaining. That ball is loose. And who's got it? A pile up. We'll wait till they uncover. Well, Minnesota got it back, but now it's going to be 4th down and 13, 4th down and 14. They'll mark it back at the 28-yard line. A timeout will be taken here by Minnesota as they decide what kind of a play they will try to put in here to get 14 yards.
Time the big factor.
Out of the I formation. Holt rolling left. Looking downfield. Firing toward Anderson. He's got him. First down. A big play. Alan Holt to Melvin Anderson. And Lou Holtz has got him going now.
Alan Holt rolls out to his left, and a great blocking up front because he ran out there alone. Nobody even forced the issue on Alan Holt, and it was a great completion, and Minnesota now's got a shot at it.
First down at the 10-yard line. Holt back to throw. Firing toward the end zone, intended for Gary Couch, incomplete. 24 points at one time in this game.
That's a never-quit football team.
The second half has been all Minnesota. Out of the wishbone on second down. Alan Holt pitching in the end around to Melvin Anderson. Anderson gets it inside the 5-yard line. The tackle finally made by Phil Parker. 2 minutes, 17 seconds remaining. Whoops. We had movement. Let's see whose fault it was.
I think this flag's going to count. I count 6 of them out there.
It's going to go against Minnesota. And that's a costly penalty at this stage in the game.
Oh, it sure is. It sometimes gets very difficult down in that corner where all the students are. Here they are jumping over on the left side. The left guard.
Third down.
Unfortunately for Minnesota.
That moves the ball back to the 9-yard line. It's still third down. Michigan, Illinois, no score in their game. They're in the second quarter. Boston College surprising Penn State. It's 12-10 BC in the fourth quarter. Melvin Anderson is stopped at the 1-yard line.
He did not fall over with his hands, but the referee said, you were down before you made that little move, Mel Anderson.
They're going to bring the chains out here to see whether or not it'll be a first down. It was possible to get a first down without getting the touchdown. They had about a half yard to work with. Let's see.
I'm sure it'll be a first down.
It's a first and goal for Minnesota. 2 minutes, 8 seconds remaining.
And there's Lou Holtz on the sidelines. He ain't giving up.
He's given the play to quarterback Alan Holt, who should be congratulated, by the way, regardless of how this thing turns out, for the job he's done filling in for Ricky Foggy. Those are big shoes to fill, and he has filled them. Anderson now with 6 catches for 101 yards on the day. 2 tight ends in there on first and goal. Park and Baylor, the running backs. Holt keeps it. Touchdown. Attempting a 2-point conversion. 1:54 is all the time that's left in this game. They won't get it. Alan Holt snowed under at the 5-yard line. Number 27, Mark Bodine.
So Michigan State needs it. Minnesota.
People with the good hands are out there now for the Spartans. Lohmiller.
And that means ends and backs.
And here we go with 1:54 remaining. There is the onside kick. And at the 43-yard line, Michigan State has it. So now Michigan State with 1:52 remaining.
If they can get one first down, that's all she wrote. But you know this Minnesota defense, how good they are. They've really made some things happen here in the second half. And they've held Michigan State to under 100 yards.
The ball is marked at the 44-yard line. That's where the Spartans will put it in play with 1:52 remaining.
And Minnesota has 2 timeouts left.
The tight end Sargent in motion. The give is to Lorenzo White. There's that Michigan State.
So what are they going to do now? They're obviously going to have to run the ball. They got to play the clock.
Second down, 12. 1:39 remaining. Lorenzo White toward the near sideline. Down he goes after about a 2-yard gain at the 44. And now Minnesota will use their final timeout to stop the clock with 1:29 remaining. Arima to Lorenzo White. Lorenzo White out close to midfield, about 6 yards shy of the first down, though. So now Michigan State will have to give the ball back to Minnesota one more time.
One more time. Minnesota out of timeouts now, though. 1 minute and 10 seconds left. They're going to take their time. They're going to let the clock run out. Another 23 seconds. So that will give Minnesota approximately 40 seconds to get on the scoreboard with 7 points.
Montgomery's averaged 45.2 yards per kick, his longest boot of the day, 57 yards. The clock is moving, 52 seconds, 50 seconds. They will take the delay of game penalty. They used every possible second they could there. It'll cost them 5 yards, but it also ate up a lot of that clock.
I couldn't believe that they didn't have anybody back to catch the ball. They thought they were going to take the penalty, but if all of a sudden he would have just put his hands up, there were only 9 men on the line of scrimmage and nobody back to catch the ball.
Delay of game
for Minnesota.
Offense. The clock will not start until it's snapped.
There's the time remaining, 45 seconds. 31-26, Michigan State leads it. Andy Hare is deep. Greg Montgomery to do the kicking for Michigan State.
Go 23!
They are coming, but he gets the kick away, and it's a beauty. It's a beauty all the way into the end zone. That is a 56-yard kick for Greg Montgomery. Golden Gophers ball. They have no timeouts remaining. Valdez Baylor goes out wide left. Anderson's out there on the left. Andy Hare is out here on the right side. Holt back to throw. He's in trouble. Down he goes. Mark Nichols, number 83, with a big sack for the Spartans. And the clock is moving, 27 seconds.
Michigan State's defense doing a job here in a critical time.
Holt back to throw again. He'll throw this one away to stop the clock.
It looks very dim for the Golden Gophers from Minnesota with 17 seconds.
Holt back to throw, firing toward Anderson. He's got him at the 39-yard line. That's a first down. That'll stop the clock until the chains are moved. 11 seconds left, and Melvin Anderson shaken up in the play. He's hurt. Mel Anderson shaken up on that play.
Well, I think that may be a little play acting, too, you know. We'll take a look at Mel Anderson when he gets on the sideline after they take him off. Somebody had to stop the clock, you know.
Stop it he did with 11 seconds.
That's just a smart play by Mel Anderson. Watch it. It's a great catch. A great throw by Alan Holt. Mel Anderson wide open. He almost dropped it, but made the catch.
The only thing is, if he is play acting here, it could prove costly for Minnesota, because remember in last week's Minnesota game, Ricky Foggy. Hare is to the near side. Baylor to the left side. Holt back to throw. There's it out for Gaylord. Incomplete. Stops the clock with 4 seconds left. Gatto is checked in, 4 starts. There goes Gaylord way out to the left side. Hare way out to the left side. Holt back to throw on the final play of the game. There's a penalty marker down. Maybe it won't be the final play. Gaylord dropping the pass, incomplete. Let's see who the penalty is against.
It's
the
against
clock
Minnesota.
is expired. The penalty flag was dropped, but it's against Minnesota, and the Michigan State Spartans have held on to win this game over the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Your final score, Michigan State 31, Minnesota 26.